Hello and welcome to Iron Port, your authoritative current affairs television program that brings Ghana's port and maritime industry closer to you. It is brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link, and the Meridian Port Services Limited. It is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and our media partner is the Business and Financial Times. Viewers, this week we are turning our attention to the Food and Drugs Authority. Our concern here is to ascertain the challenges associated with the import permit application process that we would need when we are bringing in FDA regulated products. To do this, we sat with the General Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana in the person of Samuel Agre to give us the importer's perspective. We also engaged the Director of the Center for Import and Export Control at the FDA, Emmanuel Yao Kwarting, to address these issues. The following piece will tell us more.
You deal with the FDA on a daily basis, in a quest to export and to import and all that. Tell us how easy it is to get your permits to import or export.
With importers, we want to have a seamless and flawless system where you wouldn't have to import your product without any hindrances and all that. Some of the challenges that come is the increase in port permits. That's import permits.
Okay.
With the FDA.
Increase in port permits?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Okay. The fees that sometimes they pay. And you realize that sometimes members, or let me say an importer, has duly registered their products. And yes, so they have to pay permits of a fee that is regulated for them to be able to clear their goods. And the question is, if I've got my products registered and gone through the required processes, why should I have to pay for
a permit to enable you clear goods?
And we have also an issue where containers comes in and products are not registered, and they have to pay certain fees for them to be able to clear. But clearing the goods does not give you a warrant to actually sell the products as it may be. You have to go through the rigorous process for you to be able to register your product. And before you put the product on the market to sell. Looking at the law as it stands now, it tells you that you need to register every product before you bring in those imports. And therefore, if your product comes in and they are not registered, you have to go through those myriad challenges before. And sometimes you have to go through even paying of penalties.
Let me come to Mr. Kwarting and find out from you. If I am, let's say, a potential importer and I want to import a particular product, what are the processes I'm supposed to go through?
Registration is the major tool in the hands of FDA to safeguard public health and safety.
Right.
It's an elaborate process, a process where FDA cannot promise our clients, our stakeholders, some magic 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, and then just go, we do away, we finish it, and it is registered. And no, it doesn't work like that. It goes through an elaborate process. The testing alone can never be even 10 days. For instance, if I should do a microbiology test on this water, it takes about 7 days, at least, or 14 days if I have to repeat. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So the registration process cannot be circumvented in any way. We have tried our possible best, FDA, have tried its possible best to make it user-friendly.
Yeah.
We've gone through a lot of internal rearrangements. We were talking about a risk-based registration process. Yes, and it has cut down the registration process down to medicines half. Now we can say that at most 6 months your medicines should be registered.
Right.
For food, about 3 months. But that is within 6 months, within 3 months. It means that you can have your registration in a week, depending on the product. Okay? But registration is so important that we cannot joke or toy with it.
Right.
No. So if people come to the port and put pressure on me that you did not register, you've brought it, and you want to go through the system, it doesn't work like that.
Before, if you look at registering a product and the cost involved and what has to be done, it wasn't the best for us until we met the FDA to at least look at the system again. Otherwise, what will happen is that we would then have to be paying so much for registering the products. And we're able to at least come up with something, which as time goes on, I'll try to explain.
Yeah.
But then, if we are not careful, also looking at what is being extracted from the, or what is being levied for an importer to pay in the food sector, we also get to a point that no one would want to go into that business if it comes to importation. So we want to have a system that when you bring in your import and you are asked to pay this amount, you know from the onset that this is how much I'm supposed to pay to go through the system, and therefore there wouldn't be any changes. But very often we are caught on the line if it comes to whether you've registered your product or not. So therefore, we will only ask the FDA to look at some of the permits or the fees that they are charging. Now, if you look at an area where I mentioned that there are like registration, for instance, where an importer will have to pay 0.8% of the invoice value of the
0.8%. Okay.
Yeah, the FOB price that they bring in. Initially, when this thing came on, we have the opportunity to bring this in, at least rolling out for about 2 years now or more, and we did not see anything challenging about it. Unfortunately, if you look at how the exchange rate has affected us so bad, if you bring in anything that costs you so much of thousands of dollars, then of course, you look at the time that you were paying for that 0.8%, and now you look at it and you see that your costs or additional quotas that has come on board is almost about 40% that you are paying in before you go through the system and all that. So that is where we have a challenge, because if you are not careful, then what we mean is that your import bills would then have to go up. Looking at the other bills that, or the bills that you have to pay in those areas that before you get to the FDA point of view. Now, if you have to look at that again, then one will say that as the dollar build-up keep on going up, then what we have to do is also look at whether the percentages would then have to come down to make things more cheaper.
Right.
For registered products, I think the fees and charges are not a surprise. We don't spring surprises at them, because they know. Importers know that if you bring in rice, it is 0.8. If you bring in medicine, it's 1.8. And these are figures that we thoroughly negotiated for, both sides, back and forth. None of us, at the end of the negotiation, was happy. The fees, I think the inputs that FDA needs to do its work, most of them are also imported.
Okay.
FDA is also suffering from the dollar fluctuations and all. All our chemicals are imported. All our sophisticated machines are imported. They are routine maintenance. That is where the cost is. Routine maintenance. It is planned whether it is working or not. somebody must sometime come from Germany to look at that machine. And it is at cost. And it is at a government of Ghana's cost. And it is affected by the same dollar and all. Okay. The reason why government allows FDA to charge in dollars for some of its services is because these inputs are bought in dollar.
All right, so Mr. Agri, you heard the submission by Mr. Kwarteng and the fact that they are doing all they can to smoothen the grounds for you to do business seamlessly and fluidly. Do you agree with him?
I largely agree if we come to that area. But then, like he said, most importers are the cause of bringing in this unregistered products. We know largely most importers within my association, for instance, they comply with whatever regulation that they have to go through. And I give them thumbs up for that. But then the myriad of importers out there who perhaps sometimes they have to bring in a container because they travel outside or they are coming home and therefore they have to pack some things for their families and relatives, and you find those products back on the market and they are selling. You could see that the same brand has been registered by someone, but because they are having a promotion out there and therefore they find it free to buy it for the family. If it comes for home consumption, it should be home consumption. But then you find those products back on the market, and you cannot tell whether this importer A who has registered their products are the one that are bringing in these products or not. And if you are not careful, then the importer who has gone through the process, or rather will be held accountable for what has come into the system. And therefore, FDA will tell you that for that, you, the importer or the one who has registered your product, will have to take on the one who brought in those products to ensure that they fall in line. But we used to have a system where everything that I import, which is registered in my name, should be in my name. So if any other person is bringing in the same products that we don't know for where they are bringing those products, that product must be at least quarantined somewhere until certain regulations aspect of it has been cleared. But then your regulator does not do that. And if I have to do that, then you ask yourself, what is the essence of registering the product that I have to register? Because then we have to ensure that as I'm registering the product, no one else is permitted to bring in anything anyhow, except especially if it comes to my product. I'll mention a product like Lucozade, for instance, where we used to have.
Is it a product of one of your members?
Well, I would say it's a general product that one brings in, and this is a product that is an OTC product, over-the-counter product at the drugstore. Where you can easily walk in to buy Lucozade, for instance.
No, but it's even all over the place. They shop in front of this TV station.
So when you go to the pharmacy, it's also there. But that's what the analogy I'm trying to make. So if I bring in this product and it's registered in my name, and then other 4 people also go in to bring in the same product, and nothing is done about it, either they register it or they don't register, something goes wrong, and then it's tied to me. Then you ask yourself, what have I done wrong? So invariably what happens is that if it comes to business-wise, it will not be fair for the one who has gone through the process to get this product registered. On the other side, it will also not be fair for whoever is doing the retailing, because when there's a product recall, and we don't find the importer for that product, it will be traced to the one that we know that is the one who is bringing in this product.
People import smaller volume consignments as personal effect.
Right.
Yes, we know industry was complaining because now it is competing seriously with the big guns.
Yeah.
Yes, if you are competing, then you must also go through the same meal.
Absolutely.
So FDA sat down and said, no, personal effects, in quotes.
Yeah.
We saw that some consignments are not personal effects, even though it is not the huge consignment that the big people are bringing, and yet it is not so small for one person, somebody to consume at home.
Yeah.
Eventually, it ends up on the market. So what FDA did was that now we are creating a new registration line for them, which we have done.
Okay.
They are registering, they are going through the same scrutiny as the big ones. So, and then when you come to the port, we've created a new channel for them for their clearance, because there are many.
Yeah.
So many people in that business, mostly Ghanaians. So yes, so we have created a channel for them where they go through the ICOMs and clear.
Right.
Without much hassle. Some occurrences these days that I have noticed. We have noticed that some clients of us have started toying with the system so that they can get away. Purely trying to dupe the system. And I want to encourage our clients to desist from that. Yeah. Because FDA has, now we are running a digitalized system. Whatever you do in the system, you leave your footprint. Yeah. And eventually we come back and we find it. And when that happens, it is not very palatable for all of us. Yeah. So please, look at that. If your FOB is 10 cedis, please try to input 10 cedis. If it is 1,000, make it 1,000 so that God will bless you.
Let us now take your comments on the subject that was just discussed.
My name is Umar Saleh Young. My motive is to report a mayhem which has been irritating my mother since 2016. The issue here is my late dad was a civil servant who in the year 2012 traveled with us, his family, to Saudi Arabia. And on the day we returned to Ghana, we didn't get our import packages till date. We haven't received it. My mom has been moving to and from the harbour, but still no success in getting it. But our imports too have been registered. Umar, kindly provide further details on this specific incident for further action. I'm Ruben from Tema. My issue is that we are with them at the port. This initiative is good, but my main worry is that the education is limited. On Friday, I went to do a tin for my entry before I was told that it's no more. We need more education. I can say that more than half of the clearing agents don't even know about what's going on. Thanks for this topic.
So we hope your concerns surrounding the import permit process have been addressed. Remember, you can channel your subsequent concerns through the FDA or through us for redress. Iron Port will return shortly. Stay tuned.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Thanks for staying. Now coming up are some local port and maritime industry news from Ghana.
Gambia Ports Authority is in the process of undergoing reform for its port. To this effect, a Gambian delegation comprising representatives from the Gambia Ports Authority, the Ministries of Trade, Transport, Finance, and other key state actors have visited Ghana. The visit, which included one to the port of Tema and an engagement with the Director General of the Ghana Port and Harbors Authority, Michael Luguje, was to help the Gambian delegation learn from Ghana's success story when it comes to its public-private partnerships in port development. At the Amaris Terminal, a dedicated export terminal at the port of Tema, the Managing Director of Amaris, Alex Atakra, briefed the delegation on operations at the terminal as well as the concessionary arrangements that gave birth to the company. He said the establishment of a one-stop shop for export services has saved economic operators in the country a lot of time and money.
In the past, exporters would have to go into the port to look for custom officers to come and inspect and release their containers. That is not happening anymore. So this one-stop shop idea is to assist in trade facilitation, and that's what we've done.
Team lead of the Gambian delegation and administrative head of the Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure at Gambia, Ibrahim Sisiao, said key lessons have been learned that will help Gambia in its concessionary arrangement with the private sector.
So the key takeaway is that if you're going in for a concession, you must be well prepared and you have to have an adequate knowledge as to what you want to achieve as far as the concession is concerned. And you also have to build the capacity of your team.
Ghana as a country is surrounded by Francophone nations, and the three main landlocked nations who use the ports of Ghana to transit their goods into their various countries are all Francophone. It is for this reason that Ghana's Port Authority deems it fit to regularly train its personnel to be proficient in French in order to give them the skill to effectively interact with customers of French nationality and origin. The training department of GPHA is therefore mandated to offer free basic French courses which are open to all staff of the authority. This year, members of the GPHA French School have celebrated their 17th GPHA Francophone Week, which was aimed at ensuring that Ghana's ports become the transit hub of West Africa through the French language. Various activities characterize the celebrations, including dancing and singing in French, essay presentations, quizzes, poems, and plays. The performances were assessed by supervisors and tutors as a reflection of what the students had learned through the period of their course. The participants were also treated to a dinner dance at the GPHA Senior Staff Clubhouse. The celebration ended with a 3-day visit to Togo, where the French students of GPHA toured the port area.
Now let us turn our attention to the global scene and pick a few international port, maritime, shipping industry news.
The city of Haifa is set to become an increasingly significant East Mediterranean shipping hub, with Chinese and Indian firms buying into its ports as Israel normalizes ties with its Gulf Arab neighbors under a U.S. diplomatic push. Earlier this month, as U.S. President Joe Biden visited the Middle East, India's largest port developer, Adani Ports, and Israeli minority partner Gadol agreed to buy Haifa Port for $1.8 billion. Ukraine says it hopes a UN-brokered deal aimed at easing global food shortages by resuming grain exports from the Black Sea region will start to be implemented this week. Moscow brushed aside concerns that the deal could be derailed by a Russian missile strike on Ukraine's port of Odessa on Saturday, saying it targeted only military infrastructure. Ukraine's president has denounced the attack as barbarian that shows Moscow cannot be trusted.
Now this is our Word of the Day segment, a segment that introduces words that we often use in this industry and on this platform so you can get familiar with them. Today's word is Steve Doran.
The word of the day is stevedoring. Stevedoring is the process of loading or discharging or offloading of a ship or cargo to or from a ship.
It's time for the schedule of vessels that have berthed in the ports of Tema and Takrade, as well as those at the anchorages of both ports and those expected in the coming weeks. Also, the Bank of Ghana exchange rates, which you may need to know to clear your cargo with. This is where we close today's edition of Eye on Port. We hope you've been informed and educated. Remember, you can watch all Eye on Port content on our YouTube channel, Eye on Port. Remember to subscribe, like, and give us feedback. Thank you for watching.